So that pit that you passed, that's a limestone pit. That's where they kept the lime, and they kept it wet. And what they would do is they'd mine the lime up in the Gordon River, and they'd fire it up there, slack it, and they'd bring it and store it in that pit. And the military barracks was just here. The water would run off the military barracks into the pit to keep it all wet. The lime was used for fertilising the gardens, for waste disposal, for the long drop toilets on the other side of the island, and they'd also mix lime with sand for the brickwork. Now, the bricks. The bricks were baked 2 miles up the harbour at a place called Brickmakers Bay. That's where they found a good deposit of clay, that's where they made the bricks. Bricks are a good thing to talk about when you come about this jail. This is the first jail built of its type in solitary confinement, in silence, darkness and under observation. These are the stairs into the building. The first third is the guards' room. You can see there's a corridor down the right-hand side, and that leads into 6 cells. The size of the cells were 3 feet wide, 6 feet in length, 6 feet in height. Just enough room to contemplate your mortality in silence, darkness and under observation. This isn't used that often. On average, 2 cells, one day, 2 cells a week. And it seems they're trying to find an alternative punishment to the heavy Macquarie cat that was used here, the lash. The heavy Macquarie cat wasn't used at Norfolk Island or at Port Arthur. Basically what you do is you take 3 cat and 9 tails, you weave them into one, and then you add lead beads to it. And in 1825 they issued 10,005 lashes to 240 men. And you push them any harder than that, they die regularly rather than occasionally. But in 1825 this whole settlement was in a state of revolt. You had guards being assaulted by convicts, the convicts were assaulting each other, the escape attempts were ramping through the roof, the place was out of control. And in 1824 you had Matthew Brady, Tasmania's legendary bushranging hero. Him and 14 other convicts, they attempt to kidnap the commandant, free the men and flee. But it doesn't work. But Matthew Brady, his whole plan failed and they took off. But Matthew Brady swears he'll be back with an army to free the settlement. The military was shaking in their boots because they think that Matthew Brady and an army are going to come up over Mount Sorrel and take this island. It's isolated. So to quell the rebellion, Governor Arthur, he stages an execution on the island of 3 men who have committed murder here in an attempted escape. But the whole thing turned into a farce. Rather than it being a morbid occasion, all the convicts, they're laughing and cheering, and these 3 men, they kick off their work boots and they're laughing and cheering back, and then they turn to the authorities and they start to call out, "Goodbye, Jack," because Jack is the cant word for the devil. What they were doing was crying out, "Goodbye, you devils, we're about to leave hell and enter heaven, and in doing so, succeed in the escape attempt." It was a different mindset altogether. There were more conventional escapes. There were 180 escape attempts all up. They had 2 routes. One was through inland, the other was up the coast. In 1828, a convict called James Goodwin, he makes an escape. He's going to give it a go. He takes off into the jungle. He stays to the left of Frenchman's Cap. They call Frenchman's Cap the convict compass. Makes it all the way to the outskirts of Hobart, and then they catch him. Now, rather than sending him back here, what they do is they reassign him to the Surveyor General's Department to map out the Central Highlands. And he was good at that, but the thing was, he also made a map of the escape route that he